Hello, today is the 13th Sunday in Ordinary Time. We reflect today on the cross of Jesus a little. Jesus said, Who does not take up his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Those who find their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake will find it. The cross is an important part of following Jesus. What really have we sacrificed in following Christ? Apparently, following Jesus is not an easy task, as stated earlier. It involves a cost, a life of total surrender and preference of Jesus, and a loving gesture towards our neighbour. It's a radical path which often demands sacrifices. When it comes to choosing between Jesus and other values, what should the Christian's options be? Moreover, choosing Christ and following him to the cross is not a path of failure and death, but a path of life. Jesus says, anyone who does not take up his cross and follow in my footsteps is not worthy of me. In Mark's Gospel, Jesus says, if anyone wishes to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. In those days, the cross was a death sentence imposed by the Roman Empire for the thieves and the marginalised. To take up one's cross and to follow Jesus was the equivalent of agreeing to be marginalised by the unjust system of the empire. Jesus' cross is the consequence of the free commitment taken on to reveal the good news to everyone, to reveal the good news that God is Father, and therefore all are to be accepted and treated as brothers and sisters. Because of this revolutionary proclamation, Jesus was persecuted, was not afraid to give up his life. Greater love has no man than this, than that he laid down his life for his friends. One of the things that Jesus insists on for those who wish to follow him is that of leaving behind father, mother, wife, children, sisters, house, land, to leave everything for the love of him and his gospel. He even commands us to hate father, mother, wife, children, sisters and brothers. Otherwise you cannot be my disciples, we read in St. Luke's Gospel. These demands are not just for some, but for those who wish to follow him. They are for all. How can we understand these statements when they seem to be dismantling and breaking up all family ties? We cannot imagine Jesus demanding of all men and women in Galilee to leave their families, their lands, their villages to follow him. In fact, this did not happen except for a small group of followers. So what exactly is the meaning of these demands for us? Jesus identifies himself with the missionary and the disciple. He himself gives us an example. When his family tries to claim him, he reacts and says, Who are my mother and my brethren? And looking around, he says, Behold my mother and my brethren, for whoever does the will of God, he is my brother and sister and mother. He stretched the family, he created community. The people he attracted were called the poor and excluded. He asked the same thing of those who wish to follow him. The excluded and marginalised must be welcomed again into sharing and thus feel welcomed by God. This was the way to achieve the law, the end of the law. There should be no one of you in need. For the missionary and the disciple, it is very important to know that he or she will never be alone. If he or she remains faithful to his or her mission, she and he will have the certainty that Jesus identifies himself with them. And through Jesus the Father, he will reveal himself to those who the missionary and disciple proclaim the good news. And so, just as Jesus reflected the face of the Father, so also we shall be a mirror where people can glimpse something of the love of Jesus. Amen.